Paul Daner, Mark Shalafu, from listener questions to some running gags. Insider stories, ambush light, that dad life and respect for flags. Kick off the weekend, alright? It's the Growler Friday show, it's Dey Light.
All right, welcome into the latest edition of Dey Light. Paul Daner Jr., Mark Shalafu, excited to be with you on a big day. A big day. Mark, the Growler turns 100 today. Can you believe it?
I can't. Everyone said it would be canceled by episode 99. They were wrong. Sorry, haters. We're still here. What are you? It's a doubly special day today, too, right? Because what do you fly for the Growler turning 100?
Well, it would be the Growler flag, but the Growler flag currently flies proudly at BetMGM and Nation and Kitchen and Bar down at the Banks. So I don't have the Growler flag now. I need to go get another one. So that flag is not currently flying.
Yeah. So what flag is flying today, Paul?
Well, there's a birthday flag flying.
A birthday flag. How exciting.
Isn't it?
Whose birthday is it?
It is my birthday today. Can you feel the excitement in the room?
Whoa, a double birthday. The Growler turns 100 and Paul turns 50. What a day. What a day.
What a day. What a day. It's actually my Icky Woods birthday. It's 44.
Oh, that's a big one.
44, that's me. I get to yell that like all day and get away with it at least a couple times before I get booed out of the room.
Yeah, I'm sure your wife loves that. I'm sure you've probably trotted it out a few times.
Yeah, cold cuts, jokes. It's something that's going to be a part of today. It's just what it's going to be. All right, I've decided. So yes, it's a very fun day. I gotta say, far more excited about episode 100. I guess I don't even know. We've done some episodes that were like half episodes, and we've done YouTube only stuff. So I don't know how it adds up, but we've decided that today is 100 by our episode standards.
Yeah, it's definitely episode 100 according to iTunes. So they an Apple podcast app and stuff. So, we'll take it. That's 100 in the books, and you got to feel pretty good about it. There's some ups, some downs, some great ambush questions we've had from the Growl Pals. A lot of great discussion topics. Some of them were a little bit more interesting than others. But overall, how are you feeling after 100 eps?
Feeling great. I love it. The difference in the shows that we've had has been fun. We've been able to talk about some really questionable topics that some people said don't even belong on the internet, but we did it anyway. We did. And I feel like we're solving problems that no one even knew were problems or asked for sometimes, but we're doing it, and good for us.
We do have a Growler 100 video here that we can play in case it doesn't go right, and we need to cut this out of the entire episode. At least it'll be closer for you to edit.
Okay.
Paul, it's future.
Works.
Paul just wanted to say the next year is a great one.
This is future,
Even though
Paul.
You got cursed by a witch. That turned you into a cliche sports announcer. The podcast becomes the biggest football show in North America. And it's honestly because of Jay and Mark. The best decision you ever made was the huge raise you gave them after show 100. Your only regret all year was storming the Capitol because you wanted them to fly your own flag. That was a huge embarrassment. But at least you got out of prison in time to cover the Bengals Super Bowl win.
Future Paul Daner checking into the show.
Wow.
How great is that?
Hi, Paul. It's future. Paul just wanted to say the next year.
I cannot believe that is frightening in every way, shape, and form. And I'm not really even sure what to say. I do regret storming the Capitol.
That is coming up. So future Paul Daner, we just wanted to check in with some words of wisdom over this next year that we're going to have for the Growler. It sounds like things go well for most of us. Yeah, you wanted to fly your own flag. That's fine.
Yeah.
And you got cursed by a witch that turned you into a generic sports announcer because I learned I cannot AI clone your voice without your permission. That is what I learned late last night in my prep for this show. I gotta say though,
giving
AI
you permission. What do I got to do? Is there a form I have to sign? Do I have
a
to go to
script
like
you have to read so they can.
the AI DMV, the AI version of the DMV, and like feel I get a license for you or something? How does that work?
There's like a little script you got to read so it can clone your voice. I'm like, I've got hours of this guy's voice. Just use this AI. You're supposed to be this next level technology.
Wow.
And yeah, so that was a bit that was mostly for our YouTube viewers. You got to see. I will say, AI crushed your all your movements and facial reactions and stuff. It was pretty good on that. So we'll give it credit.
Well, it's good to know. I appreciate it. That was well done and extra effort on the research, which I appreciate from you in putting in the effort and then realizing it's probably not worth that much effort, which is exactly where I would hope it would land.
Like, yeah, I'm going to call Paul at 10:30 at night and get him to read this script that I can record and then subtly manipulate into using his voice to clone it.
Love it. Well, thanks for putting that together. That was great. I'm maybe there, if there needs to be more visit from future, what is that future old man, Paul? Like, I kind of sound a little bit like I just turned 100 in that video. I'm not sure exactly what the voice is supposed to be. And also maybe I was searching for gold in the old West or something. I was an old 49er or something.
Or had a little helium addiction going.
Yeah.
But you know what we could do is at our live show, I'll have you read the script and then we can start doing like YouTube bonus clips where it's just me making up what you say about that week's game. That'd be fun. Little AI Paul feedback on the game, because it does nail the voice pretty well once you do the script.
Yeah. Well, I will look forward to that. But yes, next live show, we should mention that. 10/27. The Philadelphia game. So just over a week. They moved the game to 1:00. We don't care. We still roll. So we're going to go 10 o'clock is going to be from 10 to 11. We're going to be doing our live show. Our guest is Ring of Honor defensive tackle Tim Crumry. It's going to be great to have Tim with us, who we wanted to have for the actual Ring of Honor night, but very busy that night. So, but he said, look, I'm with you on the next one. So great to have Tim Crumry with us. Maybe he'll bring his jacket. We can see the Ring of Honor jacket up close and personal. So certainly looking forward to having him with us. We will have our $3 Cincy Lights. We will be giving away a Graders shipper to those that are there. We may break out the wheel for that. I've got a wheel now we can spin. Oh,
you got a wheel?
I got a wheel. I think we can spin a wheel to get the Graders shipper out and decide who's Graders worthy as we play our games and stuff like that and do all of our giveaways. They'll have, you guys know it's a great time. Nation Kitchen and Bar, BetMGM, fun venue right down there at the banks, right down there near the party in the streetcar spot. You're in the mix. You're going to be down there drinking anyways. Come drink with us, have some cheap drinks, get some free stuff. Maybe you'll win Graders. Maybe you'll win another giveaway. It's just going to be awesome. We hope to see you down there, and you can come say hi to Tim. He's going to hang out and sign some autographs and do meet and greet afterwards. So should be a great time. Hope to see you there.
Yeah, our shows have been awesome, right? This team struggled out of the gate a little bit, but we've been in midseason form for a while. And the last one was our best one. Everything's trending up. Many people thought we couldn't get better. We couldn't get bigger. And here we are, throwing in the wheel, throwing in more graders, bringing Tim in for the meet and greet. Like, it just keeps evolving and getting better every time out. It's what you ask for out of a live show.
Many people thought we would only get worse. We are proving the opposite. We are
the haters are wrong again.
That's right. Hi, haters. All right. So we've got that. We've got a bunch of stuff we're going to get to today. Of course, we've got a bunch of your questions. You've got some good ones. We're going to get to Ambush. We're going to talk about the road trip to Cleveland. We've got Growler bet, dad life, all of those things. With so much to get to, we need to get to it.
Yeah, so let's get into some Bengals stuff.
Let's do it. What's your favorite Bengals?
I kind of like the fact that it feels like the moods are shifting around T. Higgins a little bit. There's just a little bit of glimmer of hope, right? That maybe we could get parts 5, 6, 7, and 8 of your T. Higgins series saga. Because now you start to see the fans a little bit more like, hey, let's just pay T. Higgins. Look at how much he does for this offense. Maybe they're not spending a lot of money elsewhere yet. There's not a ton committed. No, it doesn't make sense, by the way, to give 2 receivers a ton of money, but it would be fun. The offensive line, you've got some good corner pieces. It would be a lot of fun to watch Joe Burrow throw to Jamar Chase and T. Higgins for the next few years.
Yeah.
And I know that There was a little bit of drama on Twitter and stuff. So that like, it just feels like the fan base is turning a little bit about like, maybe we should keep this guy around. And I'm here for it. I know it doesn't make much sense from a team building perspective, but you know, there are times where I'm watching this team. I'm like, the defense can't be worse. Just throw more draft picks at it. Let the offense keep cooking. And at least they'll be fun to watch.
Yeah. I mean, I don't, you know, the more you watch it, the more you're like, there's just got to be a way, right? Like there's a way. Maybe it's worth it. Maybe it does totally offset what you can't do from a team building perspective. I think that's a fair thing to think about, because it's just he's done everything the right way. He's been so good. The combination of Burrow, Higgins, and Chase have never been better, ever. So the other thing, so I mentioned this on PD&J yesterday about, and it's in my story up on The Athletic about T. Because we talked to T and Jamar and a bunch of people, and I've just kind of been talking about him this week. He's just got this extra, he called it oomph, which I was, how would you spell oomph, by the way?
3 O's, MPH, oomph. How'd you spell
the
it?
number of O's and we're in debate, and I feel like it depends. I feel like you can spell it different ways depending on how much oomph they put in oomph, right?
Yeah.
He kind of said oomph and not oomph, you know, like make them say right?
Yeah.
And so I went. It was a really hard decision on how many O's should be a part of this. I wasn't sure. I went 3 O's and felt like that was the right number to go.
Nice to know my journalistic sense. It was proper on that.
Yeah, I don't know if it was proper. I'm not sure if I was kind of just making it up, but you know, you could have gone a number of different ways. You could have had multiple M's and multiple P's.
Yeah.
You could
the way you described it, I might have thrown an extra M in there. The way that
it's like the story. It's funny this happened. So the story had kind of been building all week. I've talked to a bunch of people as we gotten by, and the last person we ended up being able to get was T, unfortunately, and so that put me kind of a little bit behind the 8 ball in writing it last night, and because they go later in the day, and so it's kind of building, and I'm like, I just need him to kind of describe this extra tenacity that's kind of been part of his game because everybody else has and used different descriptors for it. And so he goes and he's like, oh, I just think this year I just got a little bit extra. And he kind of like pauses and I'm like, oh, here we go. Here's the word I'm going to get to use. What is it? And he's like, oomph. And I was like, oh no, how am I going to use oomph? And I was like, it's fine. Like, I know what that means, but it's, you know, it's a feeling. It's like, it's so hard to better quantify. I was hoping that he would have a word that he really wanted to use. And so oomph ended up being the word.
The problem is, can you let oomph get out of the building? You know, how much do fans love talking about Jesse Bates this season because they see how much success he's had elsewhere and how hard this team has had in the job of replacing him. You know, it seems like every experiment fails a little bit. Then you kind of look at like, all right, what's the future of the wide receiver room? Yoshavash is looking good, but Jermaine Burton, you know, that was expected to be a piece of the puzzle. It's not looking great. So it's not too late to keep him around, T. Higgins. It's way more expensive than it was a few years ago.
You know, we've kind of talked about this a few times, but I do feel like, how could you not be sitting in that owner's box and being like, I mean, we could do that. We could keep him, right? Like we could do this. I don't know how you're not sitting up there and thinking that a little bit at this point because they've been so good. So the in the story yesterday, the oomph story, I mentioned this. I wanted to revisit the stats with Higgins, Chase, and a healthy Burrow all on the field that were a part of the aforementioned 4-part T. Higgins series. Well, not only, and I went through them yesterday and how they are blowing everything they've previously done out of the water. I kind of started going a little bit further into it yesterday afternoon after we'd already recorded. So the EPA per play being 0.34, the adjusted net yards per attempt at 8.8, the first downs per attempt, the third down conversion percentage, all of these numbers that I mentioned that were just blowing everything out of the water, all over if they were extrapolated over the course of a full season, would be the best of any team this century. All of them. All of those numbers. What they've done with T, Jamar, and Joe on the field together. I'm just saying, like, we've kind of joked and laughed about how, okay, they don't seem to have any interest in building the team that way. And you get it. You get how hard it does become if you're paying all those guys what they're truly going to demand. But then you watch and you hear that and you're like, yeah, but it might be worth it.
Yeah, and that's at the end of the day, it does feel like it went from this is not happening, he's just not part of our future plans, to maybe they should just reconsider that a little bit of like, hey, our future plans aren't always working out. You know, our draft picks are not always hitting lately. And, you know, the Jesse Bates thing is a smaller example of the problem you can have replacing a star homegrown player. Maybe it is worth it. I don't know. I still think he probably won't, but it is fun that we get to revive the discussion a little bit and be like, hey, maybe they should actually do this.
Yeah, certainly the conversation has definitely changed when you watch the way that T has done everything the right way and handled everything right and just been really a beast. I mean, that's the thing is he's just played with so much oomph. I mean, that whether it's a chip on his shoulder, like Burrow said, and Jamar kind of talked about saying, look, he wants to prove that he is the do everything receiver. If you maybe had a vision of him as this finesse guy, put that aside because he hasn't looked like a finesse receiver this year. The way he's caught the ball, the way that he's broken tackles after the catch, all of those things, he's looked like a different guy. So yeah, I agree with you. I think this week was a week where everybody was like, can the respect return to T. Higgins' name a little bit? And he's earned that. I think he's earned that.
Tag him again.
Yeah,
and just really keep him on the 1 year. I'm sure
like I'm not going there. I'm not going there. Not today. Not today.
What's your favorite story this week?
Let's go. The Dome Talk is back.
Dome Talk.
Somehow Dome Talk is back. I thought we were past this, but apparently we're going to talk about the Dome and like not only a dome, but apparently we're going to tuck an arena inside of it now. I guess
nice.
is what's being discussed. The Browns made their big announcement that they're moving to Brook Park into this $2.4 billion dome, suburban dome complex, essentially, that they're going to own all the parking and can do all kinds of stuff out there, which, you're seeing a lot of these teams do, but it is kind of a slap in the face, certainly to downtown Cleveland, who has hosted them down there and was trying to find ways to keep them downtown, and they move out. This is something that we talked about in the summer. I believe it was episode maybe 20 some, probably. We're up in the 20s.
Yeah.
Our crazy 20s. Where, this is how it can go. And Cleveland's now setting another example. And we've seen this other places and the way that some of the leverage has been used in Kansas City. It's like when you start talking about stuff that's not going to happen, to be clear, the Bengals will want and have no part in paying for a dome. They don't want anything like that. Like, that's not a secret. You can talk about that stuff all you want, and I'm not saying there isn't value in some of it. Those are very expensive. Very, 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 very expensive. Building domes, tucking arenas inside of them next to stadiums that you're renovating. This is very, very, very expensive. And I don't think that's something that you want to be signing up for, particularly when the local NFL team has no interest in it.
That's what I don't get. So they're not on the same page at all. Why is the county even floating that sort of stuff, right? Like,
they want to look into it, and they're gonna pay for, to look into it. They're going to pay for studies to be done. And
I know. I want to be a studies guy. That's got to be a good gig.
Yeah.
They're going to throw tens of thousands of dollars at you for you to come back and be like, domes are expensive and they make you soft. That's your study. Yeah. And then you got like $75,000 to complete that from the city. Like, that's the way to live, man. It really is. But it is bizarre to me that they keep trying to push the dome thing. And it's like, if that's going to happen, they both got to be on the same page. Everybody has to want a dome for a dome to happen. And I don't even think the voters would support the dome.
No, you can have a dome. You just are going to be the one paying for it. And it's very, very expensive. Right. Good luck tucking that arena in.
That's
all going to work. I'm curious how the multiplex works. Is this like an old school mall? Could they just do? Maybe they should just do it on the old Forest Fair site.
Oh, that would be fun.
Yeah, just put it out where Forest Fair Mall used to be, and they can leave the bones of Forest Fair, and fans could come down and play laser tag and stuff. Like, I'd be down with that.
Yeah, as long as they have an Auntie Anne's pretzel in this new complex, then yeah, sure. Let's move all steam ahead on the dome.
I love it. I love it. All right. All right. On that note, let's bring in our friend and yours, Eric Stanyo. Stanyo, the Clanyo, is here for you. What's going on?
What's going on, Paul? Happy Icky Woods birthday.
Oh, isn't it a good? It's a good one to have. It's
That's
a good
great.
one to have. I look forward to yelling about cold cuts a lot today. It's going to be a great day. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Well, it's good to have you here. I hope everybody, you know by now, we don't really need to keep telling you, but Eric Stanyo, Keller Williams, Growl Pal, Realtor to the Stars. Have you heard from Tito yet?
No word from the Tito tribe. Still holding out hope, though. I shot him a penthouse condo down in Bellevue in Newport down there. It's only $3.5 million. I figured I'd hear from them by now, but it's been a little quiet. So I need more Growl Pals to help us out. Just keep tweeting it out there. I'm sure he'll come around.
That's right. Growl Pals, get after, send Tito to the Team Stanyo YouTube page. Go there, and that'll help him, to get a better feel for everything that's going on in Cincinnati, and then they can we'll get it directly connected. So keep doing what you do, Growl Pals.
It's gonna happen.
On that note, what do you got for me this week?
Okay, yeah, Cleveland week. I was thinking about the week, and there's all kinds of questions about the game right now, but I went way back, and anytime we play the Browns, I get a chuckle thinking about the 1989 Sam Wyche, "You don't live in Cleveland" quote. And I shared that with a few friends this week and realized they didn't know what I was talking about. And I figured there might be a lot of Growl Pals who have no idea what I'm talking about right now. I'll set the stage really quick, and then I'll get to my question. The Bengals are playing the Seattle Seahawks in, I think, December. And the Seahawks are pinned way back in their end zone, and Bengals fans start throwing snowballs onto the AstroTurf. The game stops. Looks like the Bengals are about to get a penalty. Sam Wyche, our coach, runs to the refs, figures it out, then runs across the field to the Seattle Seahawks sideline, grabs a microphone, and says, "Hey, the next time anyone throws anyone on anything on the field, point them out, get them out of here." And then out of nowhere, he decides to throw the entire city of Cleveland under the bus and says, "You don't live in Cleveland, you live in Cincinnati." And the entire stadium erupts. And I found it's so funny. It's so funny.
It's
I had just moved to Cincinnati. I was still up from Michigan. I was a Barry Sanders Lions fan, but that line and that quote put a sense of civic pride in me in Cincinnati that I didn't know I knew. I didn't know I had. And it was wonderful. So I totally recommend, if you guys have never seen that, go
Amazing
YouTube
clip.
Sam Wyche.
No doubt.
You don't live in Cleveland. It's the best 10
Yes.
minutes of your day. So question, I was thinking about Sam Wyche, and I was comparing him to our amazing head coach, Zach Taylor. Mild-mannered, great culture fit leader, Zach Taylor. But I thought, would it be possible for Zach Taylor to ever get that angry and like throw an entire city under the bus? And what would need to happen for Zach Taylor to do that? And what would he do? What do you think, Paul?
Well, I first of all, we have seen a lot of outbursts from Zach Taylor on the side. I mean, he's an outburst guy over there. So I don't, mild-mannered, not on the sideline. He's there's a lot of photos of him that probably could be used against him. And I'm sure his family doesn't mind, like, maybe printing out and hanging them around when they're trying to give him a hard time.
Wild-eyed Zach Taylor. Yeah.
Wild-eyed Zach Taylor absolutely is a thing. What would it take? I think that it could happen this weekend. You know why? Because it's people like Ron Torbert. That's right. Ron Torbert enters the equation.
Ugh.
Some of these officials just send him off. They send him to a truly dark place. And Ron Torbert has been one that has brought out many a wild eyes, many a crazy reaction. And of course, Ron Torbert of Super Bowl and AFC Championship.
Yeah, maybe
referee
Logan
thing.
Wilson will get in on that one. Yeah.
Logan Wilson, I'm sure, would grab a microphone and give Ron Torbert a piece of his mind. But yeah, that might be it. I think it's usually some kind of official just sends him to a dark place. He already kind of goes there. I don't just think that's the lack of microphones currently on the sideline. That's the great part about the Sam Wyche bit is like, I love that the PA guy was just a dude standing on the sideline back in the day. He would just hang out over there and just try to keep an eye on. Like, it's easier for him to be close to the action and know what he's supposed to be saying and doing.
I had to take a double
the PA announcer and an actual real Tiger on the sideline, like the good old days.
The 80s were great. Remember the 80s? Yes. I actually thought it was Mike Brown. I had to go back. I was like, was Mike Brown holding a microphone on the sideline?
No, it's the PA announcer.
PA guy.
It's been in his family for a long time. So it's a great story, a great moment, a legendary moment. I do, Cleveland, Cincinnati has me thinking about a question for you. I was reading today about how the Cincinnati market is like one of the most bustling that's happening in the whole country, this whole thing. Let's do a Cleveland versus Cincinnati real estate. Okay. What's the biggest difference and what are the advantages here in Cincinnati specifically versus Cleveland? Because maybe some people are coming from Cleveland or considering both. What do you got?
Yeah. Well, we live in Cincinnati and not Cleveland. So that's a big difference. Our city is great. Their city is Cleveland. I was actually looking at this week and, I'm just feeding red meat to the Growl Pals right now. That's a better city. But I was looking at population trends and I went back a handful of years and noticed that, and this is a quick Stanio's Got Stats, Cleveland declined the last 4 years. Cincinnati has had 5 times the population growth over the last 4 years. And specifically in 2020, when COVID hit and people could take their jobs with them and remote work started to become a thing, they bounced from Cleveland. Like, they were out of there when they had a choice. So yeah, that's one of our specialties here. With the YouTube channel, we get a lot of people who are moving to the Cincinnati area. So I'm going to just make a call out to the citizens of Cleveland who are, of course, listening to this podcast. If you're tired with your quarterback situation,
don't do this.
If you're tired with your ownership, or maybe your franchise, or even your city, what greater time is there to maybe make a trip south, maybe make a move south, leave your city, come on down to Cincinnati. Team Stanio will help you out, find your home. There you go.
That goes to you too, Tito. Terry Francona, who's also making the move from Cleveland to Cincinnati. Right. So if you or someone is looking to buy or sell, email directly info@teamstanio.com or www.teamstanio.com. Go to the YouTube page as well and check out all the stuff there. Sir, appreciate your time. Great to talk to you.
Bengals. Let's get another win. Happy birthday, Paul.
Thanks. Oh, my goodness gracious. That's a great visit. Jay Morrison has decided to pop in
episode 100
a lot, and you found how deep into your storage in your basement did you have to go to find the lei and the purple starred is that a happy birthday or is that just stars on your head?
Yeah, it's just stars, just a tiara. I don't know. I'd have to ask my wife. I asked her. She came through. She came up with a box. There was a lot of Halloween stuff. I think this is obviously from a luau. This is probably from New Year's Eve. But I do appreciate the horn that doesn't make noise and disrupt the mic.
Yeah, that's good.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's good for you to drop in and to go through the storage closet to find some stuff. You look celebratory. I'm not sure what you're celebrating, but you definitely look celebratory right now. It's great.
I'm celebrating your birthday, and it kind of goes with the theme of the question I want to ask you.
Oh, you are officially the ambusher today.
Yes,
what's happening?
I am.
I mean, how much more of an ambush can it be when somebody jumps on the actual stream of the show? Like that?
It's true. No, I mean, I was stating obvious a bit there, but it's that type of perception that has gotten us to 100 shows, Mark.
So it is. Today is a celebration of Paul. I know you're Cincinnati through and through. You love celebrations. You love traditions.
Mm-hmm.
There's an incredible celebration, festival, tradition, whatever you want to call it, going on in Cincinnati right now. So I know you love power rankings. So how about you power rank your top 5 Cincinnati traditions / festivals?
Oh my
Current
God.
past. I can read you a list of some if you want to.
Give me a list of some. You're firing this up beyond the top of my
I know,
head.
I
Not a
knew
few.
it would be a super ambush. That's hard
True
to come
ambush.
up off the top of your head. So here's the ones I came up with: Opening Day, Oktoberfest, EBN fireworks, Blink, Getta Fest, Taste of Cincinnati, Bunbury, the Flying Pig, Bachfest, Danger Wheel, SantaCon, Mock Turtle Soup Fest, and the defunct 50 West Punch Out.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, those are a few good ones. I will rank, like, look, opening day is number 1. I love opening day in the city. I think it's like the greatest day for Cincinnati in general. Like, it really basically has nothing to do with baseball. Just the vibe in the city is off the charts. It's a great day. So opening day would be number 1. I'm gonna have to add one for myself here. This is just me personally, but it's a tradition unlike any other for me. St. Cecilia's Festival.
I knew it.
I almost put that on there.
You know, I'm a
festival
festival guy. You know, I love
it.
church festivals in general. The one in my neighborhood it's just a big one. It's just a big time. Okay. And so that one's got to make sure. The defunct 50 West Punch Out, it used to be a top 3 favorite day of the entire year for me every year. Bobby, Optimistic Bobby, if you're listening, it's time. It's time to bring it back. He's got his new location out in Deerfield, all high and mighty. You know what the people of Deerfield Township need? Some sanctioned brewer on brewer boxing is what they need. And they need an announcer for that because I'm ready. So shout out to him. But I would say that would definitely be up there. Bachfest is 4 for me. I love Bachfest.
Okay.
I love stupid parades that people stuck in traffic on a Friday as a goat pulling a keg goes across the intersection. I enjoy that always. So that would be I would probably throw. I'm not an Oktoberfest guy. The fireworks are cool, but it's a lot going on downtown. I'd probably throw Getta Fest on there just because I enjoy some Getta.
Yeah.
But I would have to think more about it. I'd probably come up with a new 5th, but that's a good question. That's some quality power rankings there for me.
It struck me last night. I was walking through Blink and I just thought, this is so cool. And they've added a drone show this year. It's amazing. And I was like, Paul likes festivals. That'd be good to ask him.
I do. I'm here for Blink. I think there's a chance that we may be headed down to that drone show down on the banks tonight and checking it out. So we'll see.
Ooh, birthday
maybe.
Blink. Okay.
Yeah, not sure. I'm on the fence on that one. Whether
That
I want
makes
to take
sense.
that on. It feels like a lot with a couple of girls, but we'll do our best.
Big crowd. I'm sure it'll be massive tonight. So you will be elbow to elbow in Cincinnatians.
Yeah, because everyone wants to get down there to celebrate your birthday, Paul.
Yeah.
So that's what it is.
Well, I heard that the drone show is going to feature a 100 with a dollar logo tonight. Yeah, which is going to be. I thought that was nice. I didn't expect them to do that for us.
a little twist. But yeah, episode 100 and your birthday. We had to get the whole live show crew on here and do it right with the ambush.
Oh, I love it. All right, Jay. Appreciate it. Thanks for pulling the stuff out of the closet for us.
See you at the stadium.
Really amazing. You look very festive. Happy Mardi Gras.
Thanks, Mark.
All right. See you. All right. We are moving along. Quite a show. Slightly off the rails today, which I'm enjoying.
Yeah, a Dey Light
just
needs to
kinda
be off
flying.
the rails, especially episode 100, especially your birthday show. You can be a little more self-indulgent. And also, Jay and I were texting late last night about what to do. So, like I said, I was a little thrown off because I thought it was Tuesday's show, but now we've got the real 100, the real Paul's birthday, and we did it properly. So now we can get into some more Bengals talk. Are you ready for that?
Let's do it. Let's do some
Back
more.
into
I don't know
business
what's
mode.
happening next. I'm just kind of in the seat, just kind of taking it in at this point.
Yeah, now we get back into the fundamentals of the show, right? We're going to go back to the Growl Pals here.
Let's do it.
And so our first one's from Adam from the UK. He's a longtime listener and reader, first-time emailer, loves all the content on the Growler. His question, why isn't Joe Burrow getting more MVP chatter? He said it feels like it's just already handed to Lamar, but where's the Burrow chatter? He's leading some big categories. Paul, where is it?
It is 2 and 4 is where it is. And that is not good for anybody. being the MVP, you get into some deep philosophical, some like baseball type discussions when they would talk about, when Votto was on the year that Votto was incredible and the Reds like lost 1 million games, like again, it was one of those things where it was like, oh, but still, if he has the numbers that say so, he deserves it. Imagine where they'd be without him. So what are we talking about? Value. What does that mean? It typically just ends up being who's the quarterback on the best offense and best team is usually where this thing ends almost every time. That said, a run by the Bengals into relevancy, into, the top portions of the AFC or up there with Baltimore in the AFC North is what it will take, and him continuing to play at the level he is, because right now it is hard to argue with the stats. His stats are what he has to sell. His record is what everybody else is going to sell. So, I mean, he's top 5 in nearly every major category. He leads in passer rating. His PFF grade is second only behind Brock Purdy. If you're going deeper into PFF stats, he's second in turnover worthy play percentage, only behind Lamar, and also 5th in big time throw percentage. His passing grade is first. We went through some of the numbers earlier with him and T and Jamar, and that's the thing, is his numbers are even weighted down by really that first week where he was kind of trying to feel his way back through the injury stuff. And so now that he has T and Jamar and him, and these numbers should only grow if they keep playing the way that they are. And if they win in the process, I think you'll start hearing a lot more MVP chatter. But right now, no one's going to be talking about MVP for when they're talking about must-win games for them every week, which is where still the portion of the program that they're in right now.
Yeah, and if anything, if he keeps putting up these numbers, I think you'll see more of that MVP talk kind of roll over to next season, like in the preseason, and be like, hey, remember how good Joe Burrow actually is? Look at the numbers, which they kind of want to ignore in the moment because of the 2-4. Our next question here is from Chris. He says, Dear Paul and Mark, he's another long-time listener, first-time emailer. So some people finally getting some nerves to send an email to the Growler podcast at gmail.com, which we appreciate. He says he wants to thank us for the excellent work on the podcast. All the shows are great, but Dey Light especially is his favorite.
There we go.
His Friday commute far more enjoyable. He loves the Dey Light vibes. So thank you for that, Chris. He said his dad and him were in attendance for the win over the Giants. Born and raised Cincinnati guy. His dad's first Bengals game. So that was a special moment for him. But he's got a run, pass, or boot. Which of the following would you pick for a relative or friend's live first Bengals game? Sunday Night Football in Arrowhead Stadium against the Chiefs, an international game in Germany, or a wild card playoff game in Baltimore for our first Bengals road game?
Yeah, Baltimore is a great trip. It is slept on. Outside of until I saw that insane video of the Baltimore fan just like punching Commanders fans out, like that was a little scary. But
at least it made it a lot better, coming off the heels of the Bengals grandma talking all that smack to Lamar Jackson, like, oh, that's an embarrassing fan video. Actually, the Baltimore one's worse, where he just starts knocking guys out on the street. That's a worse look. Yeah,
they definitely won the embarrassing fan video award for that one. But I still think Baltimore is an incredible trip in a playoff atmosphere. I would be here for it personally. So I would say Baltimore would be my run there. I would put Germany. I've never been to Germany. I hope soon. I hope the Bengals end up getting sent to Germany in the next couple of years. That would be awesome. So I would put that next. And I'm not sending anyone to Arrowhead. I know Bengals fans have filled that place and had a great time, specifically at the AFC Championship game back in the day. It's so hard to get to. It's such a pain in the butt when you get in there. It's an old stadium. There's a lot of bad seats. I'm not sending anybody to Arrowhead.
But as a big vibes guy, aren't some of these international games sort of a letdown where the crowds are maybe not as good? The fields aren't great condition. Guys get hurt and stuff. It feels like it might not be the most enjoyable fan experience.
Until you, go outside of the stadium and you're in Germany.
That's better than being in a Kansas City parking lot, I guess.
In Kansas City parking lot, exactly. And no disrespect to the barbecue, just over it, okay? So in that case, I'm just not sending anybody to Arrowhead. That's
our next question here is from Nate. He's a longtime Growl Paller. Love to hear that. He says he loves the show, can't get enough. He's got a question about T. Higgins. I'm thinking about T. Higgins. Love hearing that from Nate. So his question is, he saw earlier this week that he switched agents away from the guy Jesse Bates was using into the gang that represents Burrow. Could this signal a change in his potential signing long-term?
No, he didn't switch agents. Actually, David Mulgeta was just here
exciting.
a couple of weeks ago. He was just here for the Monday Night Football game against Washington and posing and all smiles. I thought maybe this would be the first time an agent had ever been booed on the field of a pregame, but no, it's just marketing stuff. Like, so he does marketing with different groups and stuff like that. So that's why it showed up there. T is still with David Mulgeta, so I guess that maybe that helps squash any rumors out there about that.
Yeah, that's a bummer. I mean, it would be fun to have some drama like that. Like, he got rid of his guy, but it's still very much a thing.
No,
and
I'm sure Bengals fans would love to hear it, but not the case.
Our next question is from Justin. He's a Bengals fan, fellow OU grad, living in Northern Virginia.
We both got our OU on today. Look at us go. We're really feeling it. It's because it's OU Miami this weekend.
Yeah, exactly. Also just for your birthday. I heard that they scheduled that this year just for you.
Yeah.
So he said, let's see, back to Justin here. He started following The Athletic because of your stories, came across the podcast, loves the humor that you write with, and he particularly enjoys the Dey Light podcast because of the humor between the two hosts. I'm loving it. So yeah, if you're going to send an email and start like that, you have a good chance of making it in the mailbag. But he wanted to get down to this point. He said that the Bengals team really reminds him of the Reds all season this year because they had injuries that set them back. Every time it looked like they're going to get rolling, they make a mistake and lose momentum. He said, here's hoping the defensive line stays healthy from here on out and these guys can finally get on a roll. But do you see any similarities between the two?
Possibly. I would say this. If these kind of late game dumb mistakes that we've seen be a part of some of their losses, whether we're talking about 4th and 16 or we're talking about the hold by Ryan Rico or any number of the Tanner Hudson going into the end zone thing, like whenever any of these things that have been a big part of these losses, if those continue to happen, it would very much remind me of just the Reds on the base paths and trying to field the baseball, right? Which is just did not go well this past year. They were kind of the kings of the toot blonde, which is one of my favorite baseball acronyms. Toot blonde, thrown out on the bases like a nincompoop, for those that don't know. They were so and then I thought about that and I was like, you know what? What would be, Mark, the NFL equivalent of toot blonde? What would that be? I came up with one. Okay. What about this? Jeopardize a game making obnoxiously dumb error. JAG mode. JAG mode, right? That's got a chance. What do you think?
I like JAG mode. I hope we don't see too much more JAG mode. But this definitely feels like a good one, too, that we can throw out to the Growl Pals. Send us your suggestions for this, thegrowlerpodcast@gmail.com. Off the top of my head, maybe you could go with like a back-breaking offensive fluky fumble. They boffed it, a late game boff that kind of sets us back.
Boff. Yeah, it sounds kind of vomitorious a little bit, where you could see that being the actual, like that's how it would sound too. Sort of like what the old school comic books, bam, biff, boff.
Yeah, a little boff, a little oomph. A little opposite of the oomph, I guess, if we had that back-breaking fumble. But we have also gotten used to running backs not fumbling a lot here in Cincinnati. There were not many fumbles lost on this team last year, and every time you see the ball hit the ground, it's going to make you nervous, especially in a late game situation. So I would throw with a boff and a JAG mode are definitely two strong contenders.
Also a chance, JAG mode, a chance to bring back one of my favorite hashtags of all time, which is a throwback to my days back with Jim Ozarski on the beat. And that was, that's so jaggy. We were talking about how teams would just kind of turn into the Jaguars. And that was the worst thing you could do. So being jaggy was pretty much the lowest of the low. So you could do JAG mode, or a play could be so jaggy, jeopardizing a game in general. It could just be a JAG. That's a JAG right there. Jeopardize a game. But it's got to be with something stupid. So I like JAG plus. I like JAG mode, going JAG mode. I like it a lot. I think it's got legs. But we want to hear from you. The Growler Podcast @gmail.com. Send us your ideas for what that could be. I think there's a lot of potential. I believe in you guys.
I love that. Yeah, you started to go away to just generic Jag, but by the end of it, you would come back down to convince yourself that you were right all along in Jag.
I was
mode.
right all along.
But yes,
Look, you don't want to spend time in my head, okay? But you just got a quick vision of what it's like to just go in circles and end up right back where we started.
Like Jag mode, let's go. Hopefully we see a lot of Jag mode out of Cleveland this week, which is definitely a possibility. Cleveland, a road trip preview. What's good about Cleveland? What do you got for us on that front?
Great Lakes Brewery is always my Cleveland stop. I love Great Lakes. And it was mentioned yesterday at the open of yesterday's show. Christmas ale season is upon us, which is big time. So you've got, when you have the Christmas ale, the first pour was yesterday. You can go up there. The food is it's the restaurant's right there. You can do the brewery tour. I've done it before. It's fine. Like, there's nothing wrong with it. You can get a couple of, you got to go through the tour, get a couple of drinks. That's nice. There's not a whole lot to it. But the restaurant is great. It's down right near where actually the Christmas Story house is down in Ohio City. So go down there. I always like to go down there, and we'll eat and have some drinks. All their beers are very potent, and so that tends to make it a little bit of a crazy night, but enjoy Great Lakes Brewery. I'm not going downtown this weekend. It's insane. So first of all, getting a hotel was impossible. Maybe the most expensive hotel prices I've ever seen when searching online before.
That's good reason.
Well, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame Legends weekend is this weekend, so it's like a big deal down there. And now you also have Guardians Yankees Game 5, which was cemented that there would be a Game 5 when they got that insane win last night. So you've got that going on, the Hall of Fame thing. I'm not going to be touching downtown. And then obviously all a build up to the Boo on Sunday. It's just going to be.
I feel like that it's more reason to go downtown. Like, be part of the madness. Like, you're not going to see a city at that capacity for a while with all sorts of different things going on. That could be kind of fun to experience. Get a little of that flavor.
34-year-old me would be on board with that. 44-year-old me is like, ugh, crowds.
Yeah, traffic. How do we get out of this?
All of it, yeah.
I think Cleveland's a little bit of an underrated city. I know that is sort of a hot take when you live in Cincinnati. It's like, oh, Cleveland's the worst. Low key, I think Columbus is probably the worst big city in Ohio. They're just, not as much fun. Cleveland is a little bit underrated, and I feel like I kind of came around on that when I was at OU. You start having some friends from other places. You meet some Cleveland kids. You go up there. You visit more. Also, great comedy club in Cleveland. Hilarity is one of the best in the country. So if you're going there this weekend, add in a Saturday night stop at Hilarities is not a bad move for you as well. We do you want a quick bonus question? Sure. You were mentioning the brewery stuff. Yeah. We did get a late edition on Twitter today about the Christmas ale. So this came from Twitter. Happy 100th episode. Oh, he dared us to chug a beer on the podcast. Like, that's something that we wouldn't do. That's not even that much of a dare. Come to the live show, and I will chug a beer at 10 a.m. That is totally on the board for me. But he says, if you could give 3 players the Christmas ale, a.k.a. Santa Juice, that allows the player to have a career game, which player would you choose and why? Who needs a career game to beat the Cleveland Browns this weekend?
A career game?
I think right off the gate, if I'm answering this question on your behalf, I would say Miles Murphy, because he's got to get his sack number really boosted here, right? Because you had him at a pretty high sack number preseason.
I feel like though, due to his injury, I at least should given some leeway for that number to come back to reality. So maybe it's not double digits, right? I think I said 9 at one point. And so I think that since he had basically a third of his season taken away, when you talk about missed the 4 games, and now he's still in the ramp up period.
Sure.
So 5, 6, I think is probably a fair number to recalibrate for me on that.
So if he could knock out, a couple in this game, you'd be well on your way to your.
That's all you need. Absolutely. I would say, any number of those defensive tackles. I think Sheldon Rankins, I think Chris Jenkins, any of those guys, stop Nick Chubb, stop the run, and you're going to have a good day. Force Deshaun Watson to be the one to have to beat you. As long as they stop the run against Cleveland, I don't think that they'll have too much of of a problem. So that's where I would go. I would say pick your defensive tackle, maybe pick a young one because you want to think about the big picture. Chris Jenkins' career, although he doesn't have to do much to have a career day, his career just doesn't have a lot to it. So maybe you want a little bit bigger than that. So I would say any defensive lineman, though.
Jamar Chase career day pretty much guarantees a win. You're going to have a lot of yards, a lot of touchdowns. I think he would get
maybe one of your corners you would pick because you got to feel like there's a chance maybe to get a couple turnovers or something like that.
I think I might throw Geno Stone in that mix just to get a little bit more positivity around that free agency signing. You kind of expected him to be this big standout. So if he has a big flashy game with a few interceptions, then I would take that. Give you something to build on there.
I know who Bengals fans want. Jordan Battle. The Battle Hive is so strong. I mean, it is. I don't. This happens sometimes. Like it's something where it's the perfect storm situationally that you end up with a player who's a backup to somebody who becomes the whipping boy, and then everybody thinks that backup is going to be the absolute savior of all of the problems on a team. It's typically reserved for a backup quarterback in a bad situation, but it happens all the time in other spots. And I feel like Jordan Battle has become like this year's used to be the Westerman Hive, Christian Westerman, right? Oh, if Redmond and Westerman get in, that offensive line is fixed. And then, that didn't quite end up that way. But there was, it's like there's usually some PFF grade driven stuff there. Jordan Battle's kind of become that guy this year as he's kind of been in the coach's doghouse and he's trying to climb his way out.
And it definitely feels like the fan base has the same feeling about Jermaine Burton on the other side, where oh, he's a healthy scratch. Oh, this is the dumbest coaching staff ever. I can't believe it. Get the guy on the field. He was the best in the preseason. And it's like, there's a reason that he's not getting more opportunities. Like if he was,
and as part of that argument, you need to yell on who you want to take off the field. While you do that, by the way, and that becomes a lot harder when all of those guys are making plays.
Yeah, and but that's one of those ones that just feels like there's such a discrepancy. Those two guys aren't really going to change the trajectory of the start of this season that much. Von Bell hasn't been great, but Jordan Battle, he's been okay at times, and other times he hasn't been great also. So it's not like if he had played the whole season over Von Bell, that would be at 4-2 instead of 2-4. That's not what really has ailed this team. Same with Jermaine Burton and a third receiver. Like that's not really going to change. The offense has been one of the best in the NFL. I don't think any more Jermaine Burton snaps would have changed anything, but you still see people pounding the drum for, your sixth receiver essentially to get into the active roster.
I'm sure there will be a time this year where they're going to need Jermaine Burton, and it could be in the postseason. You got a bunch of guys that need to survive and get themselves to the end. So I'm sure there will be a time where Jermaine Burton will be called upon, but right now they don't need him. I mean, you're going to take the two tight ends off the field, though, as good as that has been working. You're going to take Yosivas off the field. He's become a closer for you. You taking Jamar, or who? What do you? I get like not wanting Trenton Irwin up, but Trenton Irwin also isn't even getting in the game. Neither of those guys are getting the game. So I don't think it really matters a whole lot right now. They need to keep him engaged though, because like I said, there will be a point in time when they're probably going to need Jermaine Burton this year to go in and play, whether it be one game, whether it be two games, whether it be in a playoff game, whatever it is. At some point they'll need him, and so they need to make sure that he's ready when that time comes.
Especially next year. They'll need him next year. So he's got to get some good positivity to grow off of. And
there's no question at some point next year could certainly be that time. I do want a Growler bet reminder. Jay and I put the Growler bet up for yesterday's show. The Growler podcast at gmail.com. Put Growler in the subject header somewhere. If it is funny and makes me laugh, I will give you a shout out on the show. And if you win a Nation gift card at one of our live shows, will be yours, or we work something else out if you can't make it. So just know that we're here for you. This week on the Growler bet, we decided to go with, for the first time ever, we've never done this before, 2 straight weeks, unprecedented, we decided to go with penalty yards combined because of the presence of one Ron Torbert.
I think he's behind me.
I'm not sure where he is. It's very Halloween-y. It's what that is. But that Ron Torbert, enemy of the people of Cincinnati. is there. So it leads the league in penalties called. And so will we see another big one from Ron Torbert? Will he piss off Bengals fans once more? To be seen. So send in your total penalty yards combined to the Growler Podcast at gmail.com, or use hashtag Bengals Growler Bet on Twitter as well. And we will see that. And perhaps you can win the Nation gift card on us. All right.
You got to love the officiating crews that think it's all about them. That's what we tune in for. The $1 billion product. We want to see these guys throwing their flags. So
throw more flags. Absolutely.
At least they get it. They get the drill and what we're all looking for.
What I'm looking for is a local Mark Chalafou show. Where are you going to be? You're going to be, you got Deadlow coming up.
Yeah, that's right. Big show at Deadlow Brewing on Saturday. That's going to be a big one. If you don't want to brave the Blink crowds, you can come out there for good stand-up comedy, good beer, good wings at Deadlow. And then if you live outside of the city, I'll be in November in Oxford. I'll be going up all the way to Oxford, Ohio, Lancaster, and then to Michigan, Virginia, and Seattle, all in the course of November. If you live in any of those places, you can shoot me a note. I'll give you all the details about those, and we'll make it happen. Oh, also, if you are a local Growl Pal, you can't come out Saturday. I can announce this now, December 5th through 8th. I'll be headlining Go Bananas Comedy Club in Montgomery out there. So Growl Pals can come out to that as well. Tickets are on sale now.
Love that. Love Go Bananas. Obviously, it's an incredible place.
Great place.
I once saw, I've talked with Josh Sneed about this before. I saw Mitch Hedberg at Go Bananas, and it is the hardest I have ever laughed in my entire life.
Mitch Hedberg is a guy that I wish was still around, because I feel like his stuff is the short, really, really strong jokes would play well on social media. Like that guy would be crushing it right now. And
they still do.
Yeah, exactly.
Like if you ever go to like a Mitch Hedberg fan accounts and follow, like I get targeted with those a lot because I'm such a huge fan of his, and like they're perfect. He's like TikTok gold, I guess is what it would be, even though he would be mortified by that, I'm sure.
Oh, of course. One of the greats, though. Yeah,
I will never forget. It's the only time. It's truly the only time I've ever actually fallen out of a chair laughing, which happened to me at Go Bananas.
And there's some good video of him at Go Bananas still floating around that I know the club had captured. And I think there's a new Mitch Hedberg documentary in the works, which is going to be really cool. I think that's coming out. I think at some point is the rumor that I've heard. But Love Mitch Hedberg, one of the best. Go Bananas has a bunch of stories like that. A bunch of guys that are super famous much later played Bananas coming up. So it's a great comedy club because it's the perfect size. You don't want to see comedy in a huge 15,000 seat arena. It loses a lot. Even a big, once you get above 2,000 in a theater, depending on the theater, you usually lose a lot of steam. Comedy's at its best, low ceilings, 200 people, maybe 250 at the most. Those clubs that's where the real magic is. And that's what makes it one of the best.
Yeah, love it out there. All right, Dad Life. You got some Dad Life for me?
I do. We're wrapping up soccer season, right? So we've a couple last games, but our U10 team, our U10 girls team is going on to the district tournament. That's a big one for us.
Congratulations.
We had a big win in your end game that we had this week. We were playing a team that had won their last 4 games by a combined score of 34-0. They took it way more seriously than our team did. They had chants and cheers. Ooh. And one of the parents had a giant inflatable shark costume because they were the Hammerheads. And so they went all out with their stuff. And we were able to take them down to punch our postseason ticket. And it was the saddest shark walk to see this dad walking across the field somberly to bring the juice boxes to his, defeated team. Just trudging across the little girls' soccer field in his inflatable Hammerhead costume. I respect the dad going over the top, though.
Yeah.
That's always fun. Like, hey, I'm going to show up in the ridiculous thing. And kids from both teams were like, whoa, that's a giant shark. But he was a giant sad shark at the end of the day. And it was a much sadder shark walk than I expected.
He was like, what was that? That was from way back in the day. Left Shark, right? From the Super Bowl, from the Super Bowl halftime show. Yeah. So maybe that's exactly who he was, either going to be right shark or left shark, depending on the outcome of the game. But love a good sad shark walk. That's pretty
cool. We made that shark extra sad. What's going on in your world? Birthday mode?
Yeah, birthday mode today.
What's
so we had
a
celebration with many balloons, thrown around and all that stuff. But I already have received gifts from my daughters, and they're still in this great stage where they just give me things that they want. And so like this has gone on for a while where like for everybody's birthday in this house, my youngest daughter, Rosie, gave you a puzzle that was at her current age level, 75 pieces, 100 pieces, wherever she was at, princesses, unicorns. So we have a lot of puzzles in our house because she always wanted one. Now, so this morning, I get what? I got literally the exact same gift that I just gave to Rosie 3 weeks ago. So it was like an LED disco ball for her room that turns her room into a party. Open it up, exact same thing, LED disco ball for me. And I get it. You know what? I like this. Why wouldn't you like this? It was a great gift. I feel like it's a great way to say to myself and my wife, hey, you guys did a great job with that last gift. Let's do it again. So I appreciate that. And so I hope it never goes away. I hope until the end of time, I just keep getting things.
Was it the exact same one that you gave her?
What's that?
Was it the exact same disco? Did she just re-gift it, or did she get like another disco ball?
No, it's another disco ball. So it's the same product.
I thought at first
we now have two of them in our house. Yes,
I thought she was re-gifting your gift. She's like, "Oh, thanks for disco ball."
It was like still on. If she just like had clearly just run up to her room and grabbed it and shoved it into a box. Yeah,
you get that though at like the toddler ages. Like the worst is Mother's Day, because like in preschool, it's like their big final thesis project that they work on the last month of preschool. It's the Mother's Day present, and then what happens is summer hits. Father's Day comes up, they couldn't care less, and they're like, here, this thing I made for Mother's Day, it's also for Father's Day. Enjoy that. You know, it's a combo present now. So at least you're getting some like, hey, I got this cool gift, I want to give him this cool gift, and it's not just like a re-gifting scenario.
Yeah, no, I feel better about that. So it was a great but it's been a great day, and it's always fun to
Are you a big birthday guy? Are you a big like, it's my birthday, everybody? No. Okay.
No, I'm not. This show has been incredibly awkward.
Yeah. Well, I got a text from Jay. He's like, this is a big deal. I was like, is it? It's a guy's birthday. I know episode 100. I mean,
it's fun, but do we need to... not necessarily something that I care a ton about, but it's better than not being my birthday. How about that?
That's right.
I'll take it. Either way, great show. Congratulations on a hundo. We did it, despite all the haters. We find a way to make it to the end. So we 101 will be coming your way with the walkout on Sunday evening. Jay and I will be reacting to everything from Cleveland. And one more reminder, don't forget the next home game on the 27th against the Eagles. We will be having our live show down at BetMGM Nation Kitchen and Bar at the Banks. Tim Crumright is our guest. He'll be hanging out, taking questions, sign some autographs for you, all that stuff. Plus, we'll be doing all of our fun games and giveaways. There'll be a wheel, taking it all to the next level, $3 scintillates, you name it. Such a great time down there. We hope to see you 10 a.m. Now with the new start time. We will be going from 10 to 11 at BetMGM Nation. All right. We will see y'all down there, hopefully. And Jay and I will talk to you on Sunday night. Have a good one, everybody.